Yeah, hi there, and I am Michael Buckoff, and you are one of my TOEFL writing boot camp students, and you completed an independent speaking practice test. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and show you what you need to do in order to get a perfect score on this. So I read your essay. I'm putting you at 2.5 out of 5 or 17 points out of 30. That's your score right now. Now, if you go over to the rubrics, I will attach these to your email. Inadequate organization, limited development of ideas, inappropriate or lack of details, examples, explanations to support generalizations. Not numerous, but some problems with word choice or sentence structure. Those are a few things that you're trying to work on. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and rewrite your essay. Alright, so in restructuring your essay, the first thing we want to do is to restructure your organization. You need stronger topic sentences. Remember, the thesis and the topic sentences need to be arguments, not just facts. So when what you have here, I'm going to just get rid of all that and just say this. When picking a roommate, I look for the following qualities: good manners, and I change this to cleanliness, and being successful at school. That way you have noun, noun, and noun again. But let's face it, can the introduction of your essay be 18 words? The answer is no. You need about 100 words for your introduction. So you want to raise the topic first. Maybe include a quote, something, some kind of hook. You need to do something to get your topic going. You can't just have an introduction with a thesis, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add about 100 words to what you have said in this introduction. So here's what you can do. Remember, your purpose here is to raise the topic first and then move to your thesis near the end of the first paragraph. After finishing high school, many will decide to enroll in a university in order to qualify themselves educationally so that they will be able to secure high-paying jobs. Further, deciding to study at a university will cause these young adults to make a lot of decisions. One major decision students must make is choosing where they will reside while they pursue their undergraduate or graduate degrees. In many cases, since these students will look for someone with whom they will share the rent, food, and utilities, they must choose roommates with whom they will be comfortable living. Notice how it becomes more narrow. As I get closer to the end of the paragraph, I become more and more narrow in my focus. Personally, when picking a roommate, I look for the following qualities: good manners, cleanliness, and being successful at school. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is we need to change your topic sentences. They're not very effective. First comes good manners. No, we don't want to do that. How about this? The first quality of good roommates is good manners. Then you might want to say, so you can say that, in order for me to live with someone else, he or she must be clean. here, finally, picking a successful roommate who prioritizes school over work part is very important. Which will bring positive influence and motivation. Which will, how about, which will influence me, but which will influence and motivate me to stay on track with schoolwork and will allow me to concentrate on finishing. How about maybe this, my coursework on time. Okay, so we're moving in the right direction. Now, the other problem is you need to develop your ideas a lot more. You wrote about 187 words. Even if you double that, that's probably not enough for the TOEFL IBT. I'm being honest with you. You probably need to go anywhere from 350 to 500 words on this type of writing. Now, if you say, well, Michael, I don't have enough time with that. How do I develop all these 3 ideas in 30 minutes? Then just pick 2. If you cannot develop 3 points in a lot of depth, then focus in two areas and make sure you develop those points. So now let's take a look at this second paragraph here. Okay, so one thing that you want to do after you watch this video is go to the writing section of my course and watch I have a video lesson about writing the perfect paragraph, and you need to take a look at that. But I'm going to show you what you can do here. Let's look at your second paragraph. The first quality of good roommates is good manners. Good attitude, respecting others is very important features to having a roommate that's going to spend years with you. Good manners like good attitude and respecting others. Trustful, treat you with respect. You're being repetitive. You're bringing up a lot of general ideas, but you're not getting specific in any area. So I heard many stories about roommates who steal other belongings or keep harassing others and cause harm and bring trouble for the place. None of that's really going to work. It's not specific enough, right? But what if you said this? You might say has good manners. He will respect me by not turning the music up too loud. How about when I am trying to study? Roommates with good manners will not be too direct in their communication with me, and that they will not order me around. Instead of screaming, my roommate will solution without being hostile. So you see what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to show you how to get some more specific examples in here. So we've talked about the respect thing, right? And we talked about roommates with good manners would not be too direct in their communication with me, and that they will not order me around. Therefore, instead of screaming at me when he has a problem, my roommate will take me aside from others, explain the problem, and encourage us to work toward a solution without being hostile. So we have one night I accidentally left the fridge open, but instead of becoming angry, you might say by politely telling me what I had done, someone is living with someone else. So we have that. Okay, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to get rid of the music thing because I already have 160 words in this paragraph, right? So we'll just say this. So here's what the paragraph looks like. So I'm trying to show you how important it is to be specific. If you can't find an example, then make it up. It's okay. You can make it up. Create an example. That's exactly what I did here. None of this happened. I just made it up. So the first quality of good roommates is good manners. For instance, roommates with good manners will not be too direct in their communication with me, and that they will not order me around. Therefore, instead of screaming at me when he has a problem, my roommate will take me aside from others, explain the problem, and encourage us to work toward a solution without being hostile. Last year, I lived with a roommate while I was attending an English language program in California. One night, I accidentally left the fridge open, but instead of becoming angry, my roommate displayed good manners by politely telling me what I had done. After he talked to me, I told him I would not make that mistake again. This example shows how good manners can be important when someone is living with someone else. Right, that's kind of what I would do there. So notice here the example, my goodness, how many words is that? We took the idea about not being direct and showing good manners, and we only focused on this leaving the refrigerator door open thing. That was it. That shows depth and thought. This is what you're not doing with your writing right now, but you need to do. So all of this information here, it wasn't specific enough. I'm getting rid of all of that. So now we have our next paragraph. So it says, in addition, in order for me to live with someone else, he or she must be clean, the second important quality in a good roommate. And then we have your example. How about this? When you introduce the example, what if you said this? For instance, when I was in college, I had a roommate who was very messy and did not clean maybe up after himself. So what did he do though? You didn't explain what he did. How about this? His dirty laundry. So we have to put here, after he ate, not only did he not put his dishes in the dishwasher, I'm going to get rid of that structure. I don't think it works here very well. So he did not put his dishes in the dishwasher. And he would leave them on the sofa, the coffee table, the kitchen table. On one occasion, he left his you might see thousands of ants. Had left. You see what we're doing? So I'm just taking this idea that you talked about and I'm trying to develop this point. Okay, so, and what did you say at the very end here? You said, So as a result of my filthy roommate, disgusting. So I think we did it. So now we have developed this point. How many words did I take to develop this idea, right? So let's take a look here. 161, that's a fat paragraph. That's what you're looking for. Notice how I try to balance each paragraph. Now if you don't have enough time to do point number 3, forget it. Move on. You'll have your conclusion. However, if you bring it up, you got to support it. So if you want a third point, you got to support it. So you say, finally, picking a successful roommate who prioritizes schoolwork over parties is very important, which will influence and motivate me to stay on track with schoolwork and will allow me to concentrate on finishing my coursework on time. Right, so what do we do now? We have to have another example to illustrate this idea, right? That's what we need to do here. So here's probably what I'm going to do with this final paragraph. I mean, how many words we got here? So we have 122, right? So paragraphs that are about 100 words, that's pretty good. Remember that your whole essay, what you wrote, was only 187 words. Nobody is going to take you seriously in writing if that's all you can do. You need to develop writing with more depth, more progression of thought. So here we go. Finally, picking a successful roommate who prioritizes schoolwork over parties is very important, which will influence and motivate me to stay on track with schoolwork and will allow me to concentrate on finishing my coursework on time. For example, when I come home, and we said for example and for instance already, right? So how about this? You ever use this one? All right, how about this? To illustrate. When I come home from school, when I see my roommate reading the college textbook and taking notes on the main and most important support points or important points, I will be motivated to study my own coursework. A roommate who places school above all extracurricular activities such as playing video games or throwing wild parties with friends will respect my time and privacy by allowing me to concentrate on my studies so that he and I achieve good grades during our collegiate studies. And then we have our final paragraph here. In order to have an amazing school experience, right? I will pick someone who has good manners. How about this? Let's use adjectives here. So, who is polite, clean, and maybe instead of repeating exactly what you said in the thesis here, you want to show that you have a little bit of range of vocabulary. So how about this? So you're not saying at school, but you're just saying this. In order to have an amazing school experience, I would pick someone who is polite, clean, and academically successful. Let's say, of course, Instead of qualities, I'm using attributes. So I'm just adding a little bit more to your conclusion. So again, in order to have an amazing school experience, I will pick someone who is polite, clean, and academically successful. Of course, I will demonstrate all of these important qualities as well. Consequently, even though my roommate and I might not become the best friends ever to each other, we will be compatible. And because we're using will up there, it's probably better to use it here too. So even though my roommate and I might not become the best friends ever to each other, we will be compatible during our college years by exhibiting these important attributes. And that's kind of the conclusion. Okay, so in this error correction video, we started out with 187 words. In my restructuring of your essay, we now have 608. Now, if you think that's ridiculous to write that much, get rid of one of your paragraphs. But let me ask you this: is it ridiculous if you score 30 out of 30 on TOEFL writing? Of course not, right? So I've been teaching TOEFL now for 20 years, and the students who write a lot, who write over between 400 and 600 words, as long as they're organized and they have good word choice, these students will score very high on the writing section of the TOEFL exam. All right, so let's read it one more time. So let's just see what we have. So in my revision here, this essay now will score 5.5 out of 5 or 30 points out of 30. That's what you're looking at, right? So after finishing high school, many will decide to enroll in a university in order to qualify themselves educationally so they'll be able to secure high-paying jobs. It may be better because we're talking about people in the plural. We'll say that. Many will decide to enroll in universities in order to qualify themselves educationally so that they will be able to secure high-paying jobs. Further, deciding to study at a university will cause these young adults to make a lot of decisions. One major decision students must make is choosing where they will reside while they pursue their undergraduate or graduate degrees. In many cases, since these students will look for someone with whom they will share the rent, food, and utilities, they must choose roommates with whom they will be comfortable living. Personally, when picking a roommate, I look for the following qualities: good manners, cleanliness, and being successful at school. The first quality of good roommates is good manners. For instance, roommates with good manners will not be too direct in their communication with me, and that they will not order me around. Therefore, instead of screaming at me when he has a problem, my roommate will take me aside from others, explain the problem, and encourage us to work toward a solution without being hostile. Last year, I lived with a roommate while I was attending an English language program in California. One night, I accidentally left the fridge open. But instead of becoming angry, my roommate displayed good manners by politely telling me what I had done. After he talked to me, I told him I would not make that mistake again. And this example shows how good manners can be important when someone is living with someone else. Notice how I use this idea, good manners, here, and it ties back to what we said here. Let's keep going. In addition, in order for me to live with someone else, he or she must be clean, the second important quality in a good roommate. For instance, when I was in college, I had a roommate who was very messy and did not clean up after himself. Quite often, he threw his dirty laundry all over the house. After he ate, he did not put his dishes in the dishwasher, and he would leave them on the sofa, the coffee table, and the kitchen table. Maybe put or here. Maybe here instead of in, we'll say on. On one occasion, he left his Coca-Cola can on the coffee table for 3 days, and on the third day, we had thousands of ants invade our home so that they could get access to the sugary drink that he left. Many times, he did not even flush the toilet after using the bathroom. As a result of my filthy roommate, I moved out, and I never want to experience that type of disgusting uncleanliness again. Finally, picking a successful roommate who prioritizes schoolwork over parties is the last how about instead of important, let's use a synonym. It's the last crucial quality. There we go. And we're just trying to make sure each topic sentence directly ties back to the thesis. Again, picking a successful roommate who prioritizes schoolwork over parties is the last crucial quality which will influence and motivate me to stay on track with schoolwork and will allow me to concentrate on finishing my coursework on time. To illustrate, when I come home from school and when I see my roommate reading the college textbook and taking notes on the main and most important points, I will be motivated to study my own coursework. A roommate who places school above all extracurricular activities such as playing video games or throwing wild parties with friends will respect my time and privacy by allowing me to concentrate on my studies so that he and I achieve good grades during our collegiate studies. And maybe here if you want to say something like this, kind of like in conclusion, to sum up, in order to have an amazing school experience, I will pick someone who is polite, clean, and academically successful. Of course, I will demonstrate all of the important qualities as well. Maybe instead of the, you say these. Consequently, even though my roommate and I might not become the best friends ever to each other, we will be compatible during our college years by exhibiting these important attributes. There we go. So what do we know here? What are my suggestions for you? Interesting enough. So for you, I want you, when you're doing your writing, try to write approximately 450 words on any independent writing task that you complete. It doesn't matter if it takes you 30 minutes, an hour, or 2 hours, aim for that goal. Once you're writing around 450 words, of course, eventually, you want to reduce how much time it takes you to write 450 words. Your goal is to write around 450 words in 30 minutes. Now, that's not what I did here. I did 600 here. I did more than what you really need to do. But I'm just giving you ideas and how you can really develop your ideas. Overall, you have a pretty good sense on how to organize things. You had a pretty good thesis, right? But your topic sentences were not that organized, and you didn't have many details in any body paragraph. So those are things that you want to work on based on this error correction of your writing. All right? Thank you.